on, guys? It's Jazzy, and today I'm here with hip-hop legend Run DMC. How are you guys doing today?
Chilling, Jazz.
How are you?
Feeling really good.
Run DMC was the first ever group to ever get a gold record. So why do you feel this accomplishment was so special to your group and also to the culture of hip-hop and the genre itself, but more so to hip-hop culture and setting a precedent and basically making history?
We were happy that we were able to make music at all. So, in general, being the first to do this or first to do that, in the scheme of things, well, that's whatever. But we had heroes that we looked up to like Cold Crush Brothers and Sha Rock and Theodore and Grandmaster Flash. So, you know, anything that we've accomplished is on the backs of those heroes.
I'm just proud to be able to represent hip-hop across all of its characteristics and attributes and conditions so that we can be accepted as a legitimate form of entertainment, culture, and we can not only do stuff for ourselves, but the whole purpose is to inspire others.
You guys have been able to inspire so many people in so many different ways. You guys have been able to popularize hip-hop as a genre itself, and you've applied so much to the culture as well. And not even only in hip-hop, and in rock, and in all aspects, in every single aspect when it comes to music,
Yes.
You guys have accomplished your goals, and you guys have influenced the youth as well.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate that. You know, coming from your mouth, knowing that you are the voice of the youth, we're honored to be on your show, Jazzy.
Thank you so much.
I speak to a lot of kids, right? And what kids forget is that even though we're adults, we was young too. And kids look at me like you were. So I always tell children, every sneaky thing, every lie, every trick of the trade we've been through. So we understand the process and the struggle. I was speaking to Jesse Jackson a couple of years ago, and he said MTV Cribs is cool, but it doesn't show process, it shows results. So the very thing that you're doing, Jazzy, is how we started. History just repeats itself, but it's up to those that accomplish things to crash through walls, come through floors, bust through ceilings, and knock down doors, and leave the doors open so everybody else can follow. There's no such thing as a generation gap. How old are you?
I'm 13 years old.
I'm 59 years old, and we're sitting here kicking it and communicating, right?
Exactly.
So we are here and with hip-hop to break down the so-called made-up generation gap. We need a communication and we need participation. And that way is how we have evolution. So that is the core essence and the sincere purpose of hip-hop. Take what we have as young people, transform it so that it can be utilized by the next generation. But not only that, I started this hip-hop thing when I was 12. I'm still doing everything that I was doing at 12, at 59, and I feel good.
Well, thank you so much for that. I hope everyone out there is listening to this because it's awesome. And I love what you said. And thank you so much for the compliments as well.
You got it. You deserve it.
So Run DMC started in 1983 for my young viewers out there who do not know. So it has been 40 years since you guys have been in the music game. So in what ways have you seen hip-hop change as a genre? And how do you feel Run DMC has been able to positively impact the youth?
Well, we've been able to positively impact the youth because we were early on. So if you're a rapper and you're coming up now, you're on the heels of what we were following, Grandmaster Flash and Cold Crush. And then we came along and we were like the new school compared to them. They were old school, so we were like middle school. And now it just goes on and on and on. And you'll hear a rapper right now saying, yes, yes, y'all, which came out of the mouth of Kid Creole first. So it just goes on and on and on and on and on.
What's your take on it?
Well, this is what you have to do. We started with art. We started with dancing.
Right.
We started with fashion. We started with music. And we started with words. Now, here we are 50 years later. We have something called creativity. And then you put that creativity with technology. So what I like to do is sometimes I turn off the music and I go into the schools and I go into the group homes and I go into the jails. And I don't talk about me, I let those people talk about themselves. And what we have to do is being on the forefront of hip hop, you're doing it right now. You're using the microphone and the camera. Hip hop is not just about, hip hop didn't just create rappers. It created journalists. It created authors. It created writers. It created filmmakers. It created bakers. It created educators. It created designers. It created people on Wall Street. So hip hop now has to take everything available to them and utilize it the same way those boys and girls in the Bronx and Harlem and Manhattan took nothing and turned it into something. Hip hop is about evaluation. What do we got here? Education. Let's use this to tell our stories. When you tell your story, you save lives, you uplift, you educate. So in the next 50 years, we got to utilize all of this beautiful media, all of this technology, all of this art and creativity, all the way down to the core essence things. Like I tell the kids, if you like finger painting, you better finger paint that painting and put it up on the wall for everybody to see, because that finger painting might be just worth as more as Picasso's or Rembrandt. So we have everything necessary now for the next 50 years of hip hop. We've accomplished a lot, but we still got a lot of work to do. There's still violence in our communities. There's still social and economic lack in those communities. There's still a lack of education. So what do we have to do? We have to turn the mics on, turn the films on, turn the records on, turn the sounds on, pull up the art books, pull up the writing books, and we have to supply it to the people. And once they get something in their hand that they can relate to, they could do the same thing that me and you are doing right now.
Exactly, and I feel like you guys have been able to influence the youth in so many ways that I can't even. It's too many to count. I gotta be honest with you guys. But you guys have influenced the youth in your time and even in our generation as well, because as you said, sometimes our rappers, they use the same words that, let's say, Grandmaster Flash used, or they'll be able to use something that they learned from older artists and from the old school, and it keeps on going on and on and on. It's a precedent.
Yes.
So I love the way that you guys have been able to set that foundation for future rappers, and thank you. I appreciate that. And you guys have been able to influence everyone across the board, not only the youth, but everyone across the board. Thank you.
We're doing away with ageism right now.
Exactly.
I'm in the house with Jazzy. What? Where are you? What are you doing? Since kindergarten, I acquired the knowledge. It didn't start when I got in college. It started in kindergarten. To all my kindergartners out there, big shout out. To all the third graders, shout out to y'all. To everybody out there, all the teachers, y'all need to go get my children's book, Daryl's Dream, because everybody has a dream. Every kid has a dream. And my book, Daryl Dreams, proves, just like me and Run did 40 years ago, dreams do come true. Not because of us, but because of you.
Ooh, I like that. Well, as you guys heard, yeah, dreams come true and dream big. Keep on dreaming. You guys have been able to bridge the gap between your targeted audiences for your music, especially after collaborating with Aerosmith. How did bridging that gap help diversify your audience and your music?
Well, obviously, once we made a record called Rockbox, we made a record called King of Rock, but by the time we made it to making this big record called Walk This Way, barriers were broken between people that did not know of us, and it also was broken for Aerosmith for people that didn't know about them. So we came together and proved that music is a universal language, and whether you're white and playing guitars or you're black and playing turntables, we can come together and still make a great sound.
The arts succeeds where politics and religion fails. And politics and religion will fail you, but it's art and creativity. If you walk in a museum, right, you don't see one type of person, right? If you go to a concert, you don't see one type of person. So before we started making these rap records, we didn't have access to studios. We didn't have the resources, places, and money to create with technology and turntables and all of that. So before we was able to go to the studio, we used to have to find records to rap over. So the whole rock thing came from, we was using R&B, we was using funk, we was using jazz, but in the crates, in the record crates of Grandmaster Flash, Kool Herc, the Grand Wizard Theodore, and DJ Charlie Chase were rock records. So rock is a foundational part of hip hop the same way James Brown Funky Drummer is. Run DMC, we just took it upon ourselves to do this, children. When you go into something, if it's music, if it's design, if it's making a cookie or making a car, look at what everybody's doing, make a car, but make it a little different. So when we came along, me being a big rock fan, I was like, yo, nobody's rocking over the rock break beats. So I said, yo, let's make a rock joint. So we made Rockbox and we put rhymes on it. If there's no, it's a tongue twister. Walk This Way isn't the first rock rap record. The first rock rap record was Rockbox in 1984, which was the first hip hop on MTV. But the reason why the rock and rap works together, people been rocking and rapping ever since music was made.
I feel like you guys have been able to create such a diverse kind of audience because of so many collabs, and also because I love the way that you guys have been able to mix both genres together. You know, just rhyme over those kinds of beats as well. And that's what makes you guys a target to so many kinds of audiences, and not only one group of people, but it's all over the board. So I love how you guys have been able to do that as well. And back in the day, my dad told me that hip-hop, it was very prominent in our communities. It was very popular in our communities. But it wasn't as popular as it was in our communities and other communities. But I feel like you guys have been able to break that and say, hey, we want to reach to all kinds of people all over the world. And you guys have been able to do that. And I love that so much. And I just got to say, I'm so proud of you guys. And I appreciate it. And it's an honor to do this interview as well, because it's awesome. Run DMC is important to hip-hop history and to hip-hop as a genre itself and to hip-hop culture. What were some of the biggest obstacles you feel the genre had during your time? And how do you feel about the growth of hip-hop after 50 years of existence?
Well, in the beginning, they thought it was a fad. They thought it wasn't going to be around. They thought it would go out like the hula hoop. Matter of fact, they thought it was going to die like disco. But when disco died and the world threw it away, hip-hop grabbed it. And the reason why it resonates so well is it's real people in real situations telling their stories. So if I'm a black kid in New York City telling my story about what's going on around me, the kid in Japan will look around and say, yo, I got the same adversity around me too. So hip-hop music, because of the various styles, sounds, and genres of music that we utilize to tell our stories, we break down those barriers and we're able to cross over. I've been traveling the world since, 86 is when we started going global, to London and to Asia and to Europe. Everywhere I go, I even went to South Sudan, Africa, which was crazy because it was the middle of a war. But everywhere I go since 86, people say this to me, DMC, when Steven Tyler took that mic stand and that Walk This Way video and knocked down the wall that was separating us, that didn't just happen in the video. That happened in the world. So by us saying, yo, let's use the jazz, let's use the funk, like even when you look at the Wu-Tang Clan, there's people that didn't like hip hop at first, but because they was talking about Kung Fu movies, those Kung Fu lovers loved the Wu-Tang and got exposed to the music. So when you tell your story in very various creative ways, you think you're just connecting with the people on your block, but you could be connecting with somebody on the other side of the world. And that's what Run DMC did. We did not know we was doing that, but we had an intent desire to connect.
It's like everything you look at is going to be influenced by rap these days. It's an amazing, amazing accomplishment.
Exactly, and it's crazy too, because if you really notice it, a lot of back-to-school ads and all of that, they have hip-hop in it. And I love the way how hip-hop has been able to influence everything. It's been 50 years now. So 50
and we
years...
just getting started. It's 50 years and we just getting started.
And I can't wait to see the future generation taking it by storm. And I can't wait to see how music is going to be in the future as well. And thank you guys for this interview. And can you please share some words of motivation to everyone watching my show?
Well, if Jazzy could do it, anybody could do it. She's a young girl on the scene. I knew who she was before I got here. I saw her interview Jay-Z on the internet like everybody else. So she is a testament of dreams do come true.
Thank you so much for that. How about you, Mr. DMC?
If you're thinking of it, it's already done. So go do it.
Thank you.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys so much. Well, guys, I'm here, Run DMC, and until next time, jazzing out.